Hello, once again from the mountains of the great American Southwest. I'm Jeff Welsh, and this is the Hardcore Happiness Podcast. It's easy to feel less than, especially in today's world where every time you doom scroll your social media feed, you're bombarded with tales of the apparently rich, carefree, and famous. You probably have success stories too, and it's important for many reasons to remember them, to remember who you are. Comparison, as is often said, is the thief of joy. This has always been true. There's always somebody with a faster car or a bigger house or a more attractive significant other, somebody who's faster, stronger, prettier, richer, or insert whatever you're insecure about here, than you. Our current obsession with social media has thrown a never-ending parade of comparison in our digital faces. Everybody, it seems, is doing better than you. Just look at that 23-year-old with a Lamborghini, or that influencer, impossibly beautiful, of course, on her way to some fabulous beach adventure in her private jet. So what's wrong with you that keeps you from being fabulous too? And so we start to feel deficient, as though we are, have, and mean something less. Comparison, like worry, is worse than a waste of your precious time and energy. It's harmful. It's a cancer of the spirit that tells you you aren't good enough and maybe you should just stop trying. This is a futile and non-productive race that you can't win. As I tell my guitar students, there's a 6-year-old in Korea who can play faster than you. But you know what you really are the best at? You are the undisputed, undefeated, greatest of all time champion of being you. No one else can do exactly what you can do. No one else can be exactly what you can be. It's ignorant for anyone else to try to be you. That job is already taken. And unless you personally know the object of your comparison, you are likely comparing yourself to something that isn't real anyway. While I was preparing for this article, I came across a quote from Justin Welsh. No relation. Well, we probably are related back there somewhere. In any case, Justin's really good at what he does. Go look him up if you don't know him. He said, "The moment you realize nobody knows what they're doing is the day you become unstoppable. Every expert you admire was once as clueless as you feel right now. The only difference is they persisted in the face of feeling embarrassed." Here's something real. Everyone, everywhere, starts where you are now, wherever that is. Elon Musk was just as naked, helpless, and ignorant as you were at birth. Okay, Elon may actually be an android from a more advanced planet, but you get what I'm saying. The biggest, baddest, most talented people you fantasize about were once pissing on themselves and crying for a tit. Actually, I know some guys who, but I digress. Most of the people that you follow hope you believe they're rich and famous, and that you will therefore pay them lots of money to learn how to become rich and famous yourself. Never mind the fact that they've rented the props that are behind them and spent their last dollar on Facebook ads to try to climb out of the noise of the internet. Did you know there's a guy in Los Angeles, one of many, who rents time for people to make videos in his fake private jet interior? I'm not kidding. Many of the folks who want you to believe they're in a superior tax bracket still live at home with their parents, or maybe their grandparents, or they're living in a rented place with 5 or 6 other people. But all you see on Instagram is their fabulous meals in fabulous places. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, props to them for making the attempt. At least they're trying. But realize that they aren't the only ones with a story to tell. Remember who you are. Some of these movers and shakers have worked extremely hard and actually gained some measure of expertise and competence. The tiny handful of those who make it to the top were probably in the right place at the right time. They started their podcast 16 years ago before it was so saturated. Or maybe they knew somebody who knew somebody that had a TV show, and got them critical networking to expand their audience. This isn't throwing shade at them. They optimized their path and created something. The point is, you can too. Maybe you work at 3 different coffee shops as you put yourself through college. Maybe you get up early and commute an hour and a half each way because you're apprenticing at a trade that offers you little money and prestige now, but will pay off because you know how to delay gratification. Maybe you beat the odds and built something from nothing. The American dream is still possible, but it takes, and it has always taken, ingenuity, grit, and healthy self-esteem. Don't count yourself short. Remember who you are. Life is brief and unpredictable, and each of us is given a different, seemingly random set of skills with which to navigate it. All that really matters is how you build your own life, how you've been able to use the tools and talents you inherited when you were born and developed as you grew to live your life the way you want. That is true freedom. And to gain your freedom, it's essential that you remember who you are. Self-esteem is a huge part of physical and mental health. It's a major component of your quality of life and your life satisfaction. It's more than just feeling good about yourself. When you remember who you are, where you've been, and what you've survived, you touch upon a whole host of things that contribute to your eudaimonic happiness. That is your life satisfaction and well-being. Remember that you've had to do several things to get where you are. You've had to learn to protect your peace. Directly or indirectly, people are going to try to make you feel that what you've struggled for doesn't matter, that maybe it's not as good as somebody else's accomplishment, or maybe that what you did was great, but it's all in the past. Removing naysayers from your life is a worthy and frequently necessary endeavor. This might include family and friends, in person and online. You had to learn how to choose, rediscover, and rededicate yourself to your purpose. You may have found that the journey took longer and was harder than you expected. But if you take a moment to step back and you ignore the negativity and the constant niggling technical requirements needed to survive in an internet-connected world, you may be able to discover and re-experience your joy and passion. Remember why you started in the first place, what truly excites you. Concentrate on that, and you can still reestablish the drive and the fun of it all. You have to learn literally how to create your world. One of the most common reactions that you may get to breaking out of the mindless mold and moving toward your dream is, who do you think you are? This is exactly the point. You know who you are, and you have lived experience to back it up. When you remember who you really are, you become mindful of the other attributes you had to develop as well. Discipline, positivity, gratitude, mindfulness, optimism, just plain old can't stop, won't stop grit. The time you spend to develop a better skill set, a better future, is not a waste of time. It's the journey of your life. The struggle isn't a meaningless chore to be avoided. It's the only thing that can build you into the person you want to be. It sounds like a cliche, but the struggle builds character. Nothing else can or will. In the end, if you're not fighting for it, it doesn't really matter. If you want to be a standout superstar guitar player, but you refuse to play anything except the same 3 chords that you picked up 30 years ago, you're not fighting for it. And if you're not fighting for it, you don't deserve it and will not attain it. This fight, the daily confrontation with real life, is what allows you to hold your head up with authentic dignity. This isn't false pride. This is the real acknowledgement of who you are and what you've had to overcome, even if you're in the transition to something else now, the next accomplishment. Recounting your triumphs and accomplishments, the obstacles that you had to move or go around or go through, with your tenacity and grit is not resting on your laurels. It's a testament to your resilience and ingenuity. Don't downplay the things that you've accomplished. This is not false humility. Remember who you are. To survive the tough times when it feels like all the grinding and studying, the ingenuity and imagination and sacrifice are not moving you forward, you have to remember who you are. And the opposite is also true. You have to remember who you are in order to stay humble when things go very well as a result of your work. And let me tell you a personal story. I am no more immune to self-deprecation than anyone else. My own version of difficulty with this concept lies in the realm of, yeah, but that was in the past. Look, I get bored easy. I have 4 college degrees, including a doctorate, and several professional certifications and licensures. I've been the CEO of 3 different corporations and president of 2 separate colleges. I'm certified to scuba dive and licensed to fly airplanes. I built a $30 million business in an extremely competitive city. I'm a professional musician and I've recorded and engineered in some of the world's most famous studios. I've released albums of music that I composed, performed, recorded, mixed, and distributed under my own record label. I've written several books. I'm published original biomedical research in peer-reviewed journals, and I've lectured nationally on the results of those studies. I actually achieved my most important dream, which was to raise my family in the best city I could imagine, within walking distance of the ocean, with all of the sacrifice that that entails. There was no silver spoon in this journey. I grew up in a lower middle class military family in an isolated desert town. The first time I saw the ocean, I drove myself. I was 16. I've taught and trained and counseled and entertained thousands of people in an attempt to make their lives better and help them with their own purpose and self-esteem. And guess what? To this day, I catch myself thinking, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is what you can be next. Prove it. What you can be next is built on what you were before. Remember who you are. It's important to recognize that all in the past train of thought is a poisonous, negative train of self-talk. Don't listen to that kind of rhetoric from anybody, including and maybe especially yourself. Remember who you are. So what if you're very young and you haven't really accomplished anything yet because you're just starting and you're not really sure where to start? Or maybe you're in your 20s and you slid through the minimum amount of school with the minimum effort and now you work at a minimum wage job. Your minimally satisfying lifestyle, your purpose in life, is to get high and have sex. Or maybe you're in your 30s or 40s or later and you realize that your accomplishments have all been based on somebody else's work. You've been a great corporate drone and done whatever jobs were handed you and maybe made a lot of money at it. But you know you could be replaced by somebody younger, smarter, and cheaper. These, by the way, are all common examples from people that I have taught and counseled over the years. People actually come in and say these things and want to know where to start. In all of these cases, the answer is the same. Realize you still have the ability to do something worthy, something significant that's born of your own blood, sweat, and tears, as they say, something that will require you to persevere, imagine, and implement, something that you will own and that you can be proud of. Don't be afraid to take on that kind of challenge, that kind of responsibility and purpose. At the end of that period of struggle and growth, regardless of the outcome, you'll be able to hold your head up and know that the path itself was remarkable and commendable. And for each endeavor that you undertake after that success, you will be bolstered by the fact that you can remember what you did and who you are. You'll be able to live with dignity and have pride in the things you've accomplished, to realize that the sleepless nights and the sacrifice and the fact that you never gave up and never gave in and never settled is the journey. This is what you can be proud of. This is what you remember when you remember who you are. I seriously can't think of many other places where you have to be more hardcore about your happiness than this. You must not allow anyone or anything to convince you that what you have achieved is inconsequential. The things you've been able to accomplish are a proof of concept. They show what you're capable of, and they speak strongly to what you can still create. So if you don't have anything that makes your life worth remembering, go build something. Start now. Everybody starts somewhere. And if you have lived and still live a life that allows you to hold your head up with pride and walk with quiet dignity, don't forget it. Remember who you are. The Hardcore Happiness podcast is live every week in video form on YouTube and in audio form wherever you listen to podcasts. Visit the podcast page at jeffwwelsh.studio where you can see past episodes and listen to the latest one. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Check out the links page at jeffwwelsh.com to contact me or if you're interested in having me speak to your organization. You can subscribe to my work on the Hardcore Happiness blog page and the Jeff W. Welsh Substack or Medium accounts. And you can follow my accounts on Instagram and X, and I'd be proud if you did. Thanks for watching. I'm Dr. Jeff W. Welsh.